We're going to be covering butterfly guard. Butterfly guard is a great guard that we use whenever we're dealing with a larger opponent. No offense. When somebody is bigger than we are and more aggressive, this is a really good way to stay compact and get a sweep. We'll talk about two different positions in the butterfly guard. I like to work an outside position and an inside position. On the outside position, from the perspective of the person that has the hips on the mat, this is the outside position. My chest is not up against his chest. If I were to close the distance, this would be my inside position here. So I'm going to work an outside position here. And, we're going to go through a series of hand fighting, right? I might, pull the hand, try to get an arm drag, different things. But eventually what I want to do is get a sweep. Once I get the position that I want, and all I really need are two grips. I need a wrist or elbow grip, and I need collar or head grip. I'm going to work wrist and head because it's much easier to gain control, especially in a no-gi situation. So I'm going to grab wrist and I'm going to grab a head position. So I don't want to grab the neck because if he postures his head up, it's really difficult to move him. So I want to grab about the crown of the head, right about the ear. And what I want to do is I want to get my opponent moving in such a way that I'm almost turning him like a steering wheel. Once I start turning him, I want to get the temple of his head down to the mat, and I want to get his elbow across his body in this direction. So he's really going to be turned. And the last piece is my foot position on the inside of his leg. I'm going to elevate him using this leg and get him to fall to his side. Once I do that, I want to cover and secure my sweep. So I grip and I grip. Now, once I have a good position, again, I'm going to bring his head down towards the mat. I'm going to bring his elbow across his body. And as I fall to my side, I elevate and then I come up and I cover. Real common mistake that I've made before is when I come up and cover, I try to cover the upper body and he just swims his arm under, turns his body here, and he comes across my back. So as soon as my opponent falls, I want to drop my elbow down to his wrist. So when he tries to close that distance and turn, it's going to be difficult. The higher I get on his shoulder, the easier it is for him to come up and turn. All right, so now we're going to work on an inside position. Inside position is critical for the person sweeping and the person on the passing side. So he would be on the passing side because he's in my guard. I would be on the sweeping side because he's in my guard. If I get inside position on my opponent here, I have a lot of good control. However, if I'm square and he gets inside position on me, he has the ability to flatten me out and start his guard pass. So during our hand fight, that's where this is going to reveal itself. Whether he makes a mistake and I get inside, or I make a mistake and he gets inside, one of us is going to win that battle. We're going to simulate me winning the battle. I'm going to get my arm to the inside, and I want to get a really what we call a tight waist position. On a tight waist position, I want to get my arm as far around him as possible. I want my fingertip to my armpit to be on my opponent. So I don't want to grab a shallow grip. I want to grab a deep grip. My head position is going to be under his chin, okay? And I'm going to try to get my chest as close to his chest as possible. The last little detail that I like to talk about, my hip position goes to the outside of his knee. Because in order for me to successfully sweep my opponent, I've got to take him in that direction. And I can't take him in that direction if I'm square. I want to take him in that direction, so I'm going to get deep in here. I have my head under the chin. See that? So I'm really nice and tight. I still have a very sticky foot to the inside of his knee, and my outside foot is sticky to the mat. Because look, I'm going to use that foot to push off and to elevate my opponent here. So here, now I'm going to grab wrist or elbow, whatever I can reach, and then I'm going to take him in that direction. As I roll to my side, I push off with my foot that's on the mat, and then I elevate with the foot that's on his leg, and I come up and I cover. And that's the butterfly from the inside and outside position.